just a sweet word. The table is prepared for you.
Namaskar. Welcome to Women's Special Express Show. She's beautiful. When we see her, we see dance in her eyes. She takes us to a different world with her performances. She's graceful and yet very disciplined and a professional artist. She is running Bharatnatyam Academy for past 15 years in the heart of Silicon Valley and yet experimenting with yoga and a classical dance. She has invented a very unique form of fitness dance known as Yogic Dance that gives benefits of yoga and a joy of dancing together. She is always experimenting with her art and a lifelong student of her guru Swati Tai Joglekar. Let's meet this wonderful woman, formerly known as Shraddha Tai Joglekar, on our show today.
Namaskar. Welcome to the Women's Special Express. We have a very special guest on our conversation today. She is beautiful. She's a performer. She's an artist by heart. Above all, she's a mother of two kids. Let's welcome a very special, dear and near to us, Shraddha Tai Joglekar. Namaskar, Tai.
Namaskar. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
How's the quarantine keeping you?
Pretty busy. Dance classes are going on, and the kids are keeping me very busy in cooking. Uh, but I don't miss the fact that I have to drive around and drop them and pick up. So that's one thing I'm really enjoying.
Where are you dropping them?
School, their activities, classes, and their play dates, all these kinds of stuff.
Oh, so you're a driver, come mother, come house worker, everything together, a wholesome package.
Absolutely.
So this quarantine is giving you a very good time with your kids, is what you feel?
Absolutely, yes. Because I have like 5 locations in the Bay Area for my dance school, so that is also a lot of driving that I do. Plus, added taking care of the kids for their school activities and other extracurricular activities. So I think the quarantine has helped me to kind of calm myself down and stay back and relax a little bit.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So what's the most challenging thing about the quarantine period that you found as a dance teacher, as a mother?
The mother part is 24/7. I'm looking after the kids, and I am very dazzled with the situation where they get hungry every 1 hour. That is, I can't believe it. As a dance teacher, the hard part is I don't get to see my students physically, and the teaching part through Zoom, uh, especially doing everything mirror image, is something very challenging because you're not trained to teach every time in mirror image. So that is something very challenging, but I'm just happy that I get to see my students and we are still in practice.
So you have students not just in Silicon Valley, but all around, right?
It depends. Like one of my student has been traveling throughout the US, and it is very hard for her to, keep looking for teachers wherever she moves. So she's with me for last almost 7 years through Zoom.
Oh, wow.
So first 3 years she physically learned with me. She was here in the Bay Area, and then she kept moving around. So I think this technology really helped her to be, in contact with me for a long time.
Wow. So you're already pro with these virtual sessions, and so this time where the people are challenged themselves by using the technology it's done, you're already far ahead of them.
You can say that. You can say that thanks to the student who has been traveling, and I got to keep her with me through this technology and video calls and video classes.
Wow, that's awesome. So, when it comes to the virtual sessions of teaching, what is that most important thing that you miss as a teacher? I mean, I understand there is the different connection when people are together, there is a different energy. But what is that other thing that you think is really missing with this virtual world?
See, the emotions are missing, right? The spontaneity, the emotion. So for example, if you're performing on the stage and you have this whole live audience in front of you, and the way they would react, that won't happen when somebody's watching a YouTube channel. Of course they will leave comments, but those comments would reach to you after a bit, not instantly. So definitely that emotional touch is missing, and I'm really hoping and praying every day that we get out of this faster.
Okay. I think we shall recover from this very soon and we'll get back to our normal routine lives. Although there would be a norms that would change, but I think it's just gonna come back. It's not gonna wait for a long. So we'd like to know more about what is your dance academy in the Silicon Valley, establishing a Bharatnatyam, the Indian classical dance, as in the form of your career, in the form of to the means to other students to learn the classical part of it, to learn all the aspects of it. What was the most challenging part that you had found for establishing your dance academy?
See, the first thing is, you know, I teach and I perform and I learn a South Indian classical dance form, which is heavily dominated by a Tamil text. So you have songs in Tamil, Telugu. Very rarely will you find a song which are in Marathi. We do have, but they are very rare. So for me to learn this art form and to teach, because here we have to do double work, because we have to translate each and every bit of it to explain it to these kids. They are born and brought up here, so there is a huge cultural difference. And for them to even to understand why is Krishna running behind all these ladies, right? I do get these kind of questions, and they are like, he's a divine, and how could you do that? How can he do that? So for me to explain the spiritual aspect of it, so what is happening here is Krishna is a form of Lord Vishnu. So there is a Paramatma, the divine, and these gopis that are dancing around them are nobody but the soul, right? So the Atma and the Paramatma are trying to come together. So the soul is longing for the divine, for that one moment where you feel you are safe. So Krishna is not flirting around because he just loves to do that. No. So there is so much depth that I have to explain them, is in terms of, why is he doing certain things if he's doing that? So it is definitely a lot of work. I will say a lot of work, but I enjoy it because it challenges me to look at that certain episode from a very different perspective, which I would not do that if I was in India. So I don't know how now things are, but one thing I would mention, my guru, Dr. Swati Detankar, whenever she teaches me, she always uses this beautiful aspect of Paramatma and Atma. The divine, the supreme to the soul. This is one thing that she always uses, and it really helps me to, uh, teach that to the students. So that's one aspect.
So you, while teaching to these American-born kids, is giving you as a teacher a very different experience, and it's helping you learn more, or like
Absolutely.
to a huge skills.
Yeah, so more, but and even I grow a lot as a human, because otherwise I wouldn't be bothered to really, think about why would Krishna think in certain way, or why would Shiva and Parvati would, be in certain way. Because if I'm explaining the statue of Lord Shiva, you have this, he has this mudra where his hands are in pataka hasta, dola hasta. So there are all minute details to it, and how he came into existence, why he came into existence. So these details, I mean, I make them write down in the book. So what we do is not.
Sorry, we just missed you for a bit. So we were there when you were saying that you have to explain your students a mythology and you make them write, you make them study in a different aspect. So we were there. So maybe we can continue from there now.
um So I was mentioning to you about the existing of the divine in the universe. So I think with classical dance, also one aspect I am able to give to my students is having the faith in the divine. And this dance form, Indian classical dance music, it's a very old art form, more than 2000 old. And there has to be a reason why every time this art form has seen a very bad part, but has revamped and come back live. So we have beautiful pioneers who have put in efforts to bring it back. So there is a deep meaning why this is there, and why even, some of them, they come to dance class because their parents send them. Now,
Right.
so I have to tell them why their parents are pushing them, not because they want them to just go out of the house for an hour or so. It is more of like they come back with a very positive mood. And classical dance is again also yoga. Yoga means union. If you look at it, yoga means union. And here you are, through movements, you're having union with the divine. So everything comes back to the divine. That's what I want to say.
So that's where the other question will come in. We know that you are experimenting with your dance a lot. You're trying to connect with the special divine for yourself and all the disciples that you have around. You are a very good teacher and you're a lifelong student. And now that you are experimenting with the yoga and the classical dance, you have invented a very special fusion called as yogic dance. A lot
Yeah.
of classes are going on past year and a half, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh, how did you come to the conclusion, or how did you start that experiment, and what's so special about it?
So here's the thing, I I used to always think about, how should can classical dance and music benefit people. This is one thing is there, that you are learning as an artist, you want to become an artist, you do stage performances. But what about those who want to just enjoy it? It's not like they want to spend like years and years of, I mean, they won't be able to. And right now the fitness world is like really booming. Everybody is into all this. And being a dancer, yoga has always been a very important part of my life. And also meditation has been a part of my life. So that has helped me a lot in terms of looking at it, thinking what can be done so that people, who like to do classical dance, especially classical dance, yoga, meditation, how will I bring all of this together in on one plate. you know so and I always kept thinking about the mind, the psychology, or the your mind. So while going to the dance class, how is my mind? And after teaching or dancing, when I come back home, I'm in a very different world. It totally changes how you have this mind, which is like so happy, careless, like, oh, I can take care of stuff now. So that kept irritating me so much. I mean, I have to do something about it. I did a big research for almost 10 years, because putting in such a kind of a it is actually a therapy to, if you look at it, to put this together, there is a huge science behind it. And to, offer it to the public out there, people are going to come back and say, hey, what are you doing, what is this? So you need to study really well in terms of how is yoga and classical dance together, how is the music affecting your minds. And I keep telling my participants in the yogic dance class that it triggers your neurons, and also the music that is played in the background, it touches the seven chakras in your body. And the aramandi posture that we do in Bharatnatyam, in classical dance, it uh, strengthens your shakti, kundalini shakti, which is the base of your spine. And that is why when we sit in, when we do this dance form, our torso is always straight while our knees are bent, because we are closer to the earth. So there is a lot of science. It's not like you just came up and did the movements. Each and every movement has a lot of depth in it and science behind. That's why it is called as Natya Shastra. Natya is the art and Shastra is the science. So there's a very funny story behind this. Both my parents are scientists, so somebody came and asked me, hey, how come you didn't become a scientist? I said, I am.
Question rather.
I said, I am a scientist,
Yeah.
I'm learning, teaching Natya Shastra, which is a science. So I think that person never asked me that question again.
No, but I when somebody know your background, we'll go there in a little bit. But that's a very obvious question. Your father is the first ever PhD in India in astronomy and astrophysics. You're a daughter of such a great honorable person, and your mom is a scientist too. She was working in NCL. So I mean, it just, you just can't relate. How come she's in different era? But now when we see your work, we can relate. Okay, something she's trying to connect. She's keep on researching and studying about. So I think that's the dot to connect on.
My father was a wonderful artist as well. So that is one thing my mom always kept. He was amazing artist. So I think that he has given that to me as a gift, you know.
So we'll go a little bit in your background. You started learning Bharatnatyam at a very tender age of 3, and how your journey has been when you decided to become a teacher, and I mean, what is all about teaching dance and still studying them.
As you know, my grandmother actually introduced me to Bharatnatyam. I was in Dharwad at that time, and my grandmother took me to a dance school, in Dharwad, at Guru Upadhyay. Maybe it was just meant to be. Some things are just meant to happen in your life. So this is one thing that is meant to happen for me. And my journey began, from there, of being in dance forever, almost forever, I would say. And then the teaching part, to be very honest, I had never thought of actually being a dance teacher. I always wanted to be a performing, artist. But teaching actually happened to me as an accident. My mother is single parent. Unfortunately, I lost my father when I was 20 days old. So when we moved to a new apartment from the colony that we were living in, and it was getting very expensive for us to pay our bills. Being a single parent, things were very difficult for us to manage. And I had just finished my Arangetram. So, and then no, who will give me a job when at the age of 18, So I requested my guru, Saudamini Rao, that I need to raise money. I need to help my mom, and with her permission, I actually started my classes at NCL. Now, in NCL, everybody knew that I was dancer, you know. So the moment I literally put a small flyer, I got 30 students right away because I was super popular. So that's actually how I started teaching. And it just always gave that, actually made me realize there is so much joy in being a teacher. There's so much joy in being a teacher. I mean, you're just doing it selflessly. You're just doing it. You're just working. You want to do the best. You want to learn from different gurus. All the cravings of doing all this hard work. It's only because you want to give back, because you're
Yeah.
not going to be in this world forever.
So since then till now, being a teacher, traveling from India as a dance teacher and coming here and establishing as a dance teacher, was it different that you find in yourself?
Yes, very, very different, because the perspective here of being an artist is very different than being in India. I mean, first of all, there's a lot of professionalism that goes behind it. I don't say that artists in India are not professional. No, I don't want to say that. But at the same time, for me to grow as a teacher or a dancer, the uh, the perspective here was very different. You know, and in India, sometimes you are the positive part of being back home as a teacher is you can go on for hours teaching. Here it's like, oh, 1 hour, everybody's ready to take the bag and leave. So how are you going to make the most out of it in this 1 hour? How is it
Mm-hmm.
possible, right? There's so much. So that one thing actually made me a better teacher, in terms of, okay, today I'm going to focus only on this, tomorrow I'm going to focus only on this. So those aspects have made me work harder.
Besides the dancing, we also know that you have done little bit of modeling. You were acting in one of the serial, and so coming back from there, and then suddenly getting married to a American boy. How was that transition happen to you, and how did you agree to, whatever that was going on in your glorified life, to leave behind and just go and establish something new? That's a different challenge. How did you accepted it?
You know, it was not easy. It was definitely not easy. But see, I'm talking something around 15, 16 years back, you know. So at that time, um, people were not easily accepting a girl with a different career. I mean, I do have an MBA in marketing as well.
Yeah.
I worked also, but at the same time it was very difficult for me to convince or tell people that this is going to be my career. So I think when I met my husband Kaushik and I told him what I really want to do, he was very supportive. I think that really helped me to leave everything and come here,
Okay.
otherwise I probably would not, because it's very difficult. It's really hard. Now things have changed a lot, but at that time, yes, it was. People used to be like, "Oh, you start judging you because you're a dancer," So that has not happened. When I met my husband.
Oh, so it's like really the love twist everything in your life.
Yes. Because see, what happens is, you need somebody who will support you for your cause. This is a big cause. You need an entire village to push that big cause. You need
True.
your family support. You need this divine support. Only then you can be successful. This is what I feel. So, like people say, right, there is always a woman behind a man's success. I feel there is a man behind my success. So
So very nice to get that appreciation, and I'm really honored to see this other sides as well, because people want to know that side. The husbands can be very supportive, and this is a beautiful life. The marriage itself is a very beautiful life, and both of them needs to run together. And for you it has come to a very ideal situation, and a person who is born and brought up here accepted you as a classical dancer, adopted a lot of culture that you brought in, and I'm sure it must have been a very cultural shock for you when you came here.
Totally, and totally. I mean, like, what is going on? But it was fun too, because you get to see the other side of the world, because we live in a cocoon. When you're, especially when you're in your own country, you live in a cocoon and you have these your own belief system. And when you come out of that cocoon, that it helps you to think, like, there is a different world out there, which is has a different perspective, and it's okay to adopt a different perspective. It's not going to harm you. That one thing is really helpful. So my
Nice.
class was good.
So, when you started teaching kids over here who are born and brought up, and most of them are South Asians who have a nice family background, who are pushing them towards the classical forms, Indian classical forms, I would say. But you might also have come across the families who are not so much into Indian classical dance, but somehow after seeing your students, they have been, inspired, and they started sending the kids. So what do you like? What kind of a message you would like to give to those kind of parents, or parents who are not Indians by by race, but still they want their kids to pursue these classical forms? What kind of message you would like to give to such parents?
See, dance or any art form cannot be restricted to anyone. This is what I feel.
Awesome.
You can't restrict an art form to anyone. I have attended uh, a workshop of a French Bharatnatyam dancer. What a phenomenal dancer, unfortunately, I can't pronounce his name correctly. And I wish I could pronounce his name really well. So, I, let me try. I think his name, this is how you pronounce, he's a very senior dancer. Dominus this is how you pronounce his name.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he very beautiful. I mean, I was completely awed to see how this French person left everything and came to the south of India to pursue Bharatnatyam. I mean, if people who are not Indian can do this, what is
Mm-hmm.
wrong with us, right? And this, you cannot restrict an art form. It's just not, it's not there. It's not, supposed to be restricted. So that's what I want to tell the parents. So if your child feels attractive about certain aspects, like literally like yoga, right? Now if you see at yoga centers are being run by so many non-Indian people.
True.
Yeah, right. So where nobody could restrict it, and example, the best part example I like is Mount Madonna. That
Mm.
entire center is run by non-Indians.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I took my students last year in March for a dance treat there, and
Mm-hmm.
had so much fun of having a dance retreat there with, and then we performed at that Hanumana temple.
Yeah.
Um, and the chanting that was done by the priest, he was not Indian, but we just were mesmerized. So, so I will give this message to the parents. If they want to move on, they want to learn something, please open their doors and let them experiment.
So just now you said there was a French male artist who came all the way to South India, learned the Bharatnatyam, and he's a very good performing artist now. But when we see any Indian classical dance forms, we have heard the big names of male performing artists. But now when you see the kids ratio, how they are coming to the classes, it's mostly the girls who are dominating the dance classes, and somewhere that connection is lost now. The males are feeling, oh, this is very feminine, this is not something like a hip hop or a Bollywood or jazz. So what that gap you would like to address and would like to bring that to attention, where the boys would also go ahead and pursue this classical dance form?
See, the thing is, parents play a very important role in this. So I know two boys. They are a totally opposite scenario. One boy whose parents totally have let him learn and perform Bharatnatyam dance.
Wow.
And one boy whose father just didn't let him perform or even
Mhm.
learn. I remember this boy had come to my dance school fully prepared, doing a full study of classical dance, and then he came to me. And only because the father didn't let him, he didn't pursue. But if he had, he would have been a phenomenal dancer. So I think somewhere our culture, or I think there's some kind of a fear. Tomorrow, if my son comes up and says, I would like to learn Bharatnatyam, I don't think I want to stop him. You
Right.
know, I don't want to stop him because Lord Nataraja himself is a male dancer. And
Mhm.
how would you even, draw a line there, right? So I think you should, as a parent, let them pursue it. Not sure if they want to do a career, but learning at least. And second thing, I very strongly feel that Natya Shastra should be a part of the school,
Mhm.
not only in India, but I think performing arts itself should be a part of the school curriculum, and only
Right.
then people will understand the importance of this art form. So for example, when I was in school, very it is very difficult for the teachers to understand why I'm so much into dance. I it was, they're like, you are not studying enough but you're dancing so much, and what to say, it just gives me so much joy.
True.
How should I explain that to them, right? So I wish even they had that knowledge why this girl is so crazy for this art form. Then maybe
Right.
I wouldn't have said that. But
So somewhere you feel that bringing back these kind of studies to the curriculum will make a difference, will make people pursue it more, research more, study more.
yeah, because see, it's like a language. I mean, you have German, French, you have Spanish language. You have so many languages in school. Why not have performing arts as a language? It's beautiful. There's so much, and don't have just like one art form. Have all kinds of art forms in all over the world. Bring everything together. I mean,
Mhm.
if I could be a performing arts teacher at any of the school district, I would really love to do that. Like every quarter you have, this dance form or music form to learn, and kids can take it.
Well, that's a very good thought. Have you ever tried to mention it to your mayors or to your school districts when such kind of meetings are happening? Do you think if we can raise, I mean, all the artists can come together and try to pursue it behind, will it work?
That's a good question. I have not done that because see, the thing is, it was more of public schools not having funds, or
Mhm.
but at the same time, what I would say, for the last 10 years, I have been going to Rainbow Montessori in Sunnyvale,
Mhm.
a private Montessori school, and teaching Bharatnatyam there for last almost 10 years now. You
Wow.
so that the principal and the assistant vice principal has been very um, supportive to me for letting me offer Bharatnatyam classes at their Montessori school. So it has been really fun. So I think people should be, should do that. I mean, and then what will happen, this will actually bring um, jobs to the dancers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of time they be, oh, what are you going to do after doing MA in Bharatnatyam? What are you going to do after doing, BA in classical dance, music? What is it that you're going to do? But nobody will tell a mathematician teacher, oh, what are you going to do by being a maths teacher, right? That question never comes. But
Right.
the question of an artist to earn money, how much are you going to make money by starting your dance class? Is the first question everybody asks.
That's true, because you cannot earn bread and butter just by performing. There has to have a money flow coming in. Everybody has a life to, go on, and that they
See,
have.
Society is very much responsible for this. You can't keep blaming the artist. I mean, if you don't support the art form, how are the artists going to live? I mean, for me, fortunately, I have an MBA in marketing. I can anytime just go back and get a job. But what about those who have done, you know, MA in classical dance, PhD in dance, or music? What about those artists, right? So the society needs to come back and create certain opportunities for them to give them opportunities to earn. That makes a huge difference. I mean, we have so many schools around, right? And each school has one performing arts center. So see the amount of uh, you know opportunities will be created for the artist, and then tomorrow when a young um, dancer comes up and says she wants to do a career, nobody will stop her. I mean,
Right.
it's not easy for me to become a full-time performing artist or a teacher. I had a full-time job in the Bay Area. I quit that. I was working at Technology Credit Union as a business development manager. It
Mhm.
was not easy for me to quit because it was a huge dip from our financial, perspective.
Understand. Yeah.
Only and only because my husband totally supported me, my in-laws totally supported me, I was able to do. But what about those who can't? I have a lot of people who come back and say that to me.
I know that's so true. But like, given this background, what do you think a right movement should happen from a society, from all the artists together to have this kind of curriculums introduced to the education? Do you think like we should have such kind of a platform where we open up, where we can design such kind of subjects, or introduce such kind of subjects at the right age to the kids?
Absolutely. Like from see around 5 year old is when some teachers accept students as old as 5, some do 8. So it's right from kindergarten. If you start slowly talking to them about this, telling them small, just like they learn ABCD, or they learn to count from 1 to 100. You start with the tala system. And actually the Indian classical beats are math, nothing but math.
Hmm.
So for example, you're doing simple four beats, like you're doing 1 2 3 4, second speed, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. So this is so much fun way of learning those numbers too, right? So there is so much of creativity that can be done with a beautiful art form like this. So I think I don't know, whoever who listens to this interview, they try to take it to the take it seriously and help the art form to be as a part of the curriculum. It'll be so much fun.
Yeah, I wish same, and I wish like we can have someone from the educational backgrounds who take this message very seriously, be it in America or anywhere in the world. If this happens, the art is gonna come back in a very nice mode. So nobody has to struggle for it. And I mean, we have seen in India as well, right? If someone is very good at studies, they have to drop the ball on the other courts and have to pursue studies because they know education is the only way they can excel in their life.
Yeah.
So that's very true. Well, we are running out of time, I would say, but still we'll continue for a bit. We'll go to a most special round of our show that's called as a rapid fire. You all have seen a coffee with Karan, and people have loved the rapid fire round.
Fun.
Similarly, crafted this round in our show, and we'll love to know artists more through this 5 questions. Now we'll just keep it to 5 questions so she's not bombarded. Well, the first question is, what's the best advice as an artist that you have ever got?
Doing practice.
But I see you do that every day. While cooking, you do the beat practice. While, talking to your daughters, I'm sure you must be doing your footwork.
Yes, I do. But see, this is something that is a sadhana. This is a sadhana. There is a practice, and this practice will always be fruitful. That's what this is the best advice I've always received from my gurus.
Whom do you think it's most easier to teach a dance? Your daughter or somebody else's daughter?
Somebody else's.
If somebody had to write a book on you, what do you think a title should have been?
Oh, nice. My name, I think. No, my
Yeah, I felt the same. When I was thinking about you, I think like she would just come up with the same thing.
yeah. It's a very beautiful name given by my father. So I think that's the biggest and the best gift I have from him.
Yeah, that's true. It's Shraddha means faith. Yeah, faith in everything, and the faith has worked out you so gratefully, gracefully, I would say. We have seen your performances on the stage and we have been mesmerized. I'm sure the one who is dancing and getting into that connection is a tremendous spiritual experience. And I've seen your Geet Ramayan's Paradhina Ahe Jagati performance multiple times, I would say. And multiple times I have gone to the same stage of mind, same state of, being nothing around. I mean, I'm sure it is really wonderful that faith has brought to you.
Yeah.
So, if you had to perform with some artist in once in your lifetime, who it could be?
My guru, Dr. Swati Rethankar, I want to extensively perform with her. I mean, roam around the world with her. So yeah, because the connection with your teacher is so different, so divine, that and it is I literally stumbled into her, before coming to the US. Out of the blue, I just met her. I mean, I was in Pune for so many years, but I never went to her dance class. But right before I migrated here, I happened to meet her. I'm like,
Wow.
it's just this weird connection. And so I think you know touring with her and performing with her will be my dream.
Wow. And you're still learning from her, right? Every Saturday morning you have classes going on where she's teaching you, you're studying some multiple alankars. I mean, it's really fascinating to understand that. How do you manage all that? Kids, manage it for them, then study, then teach. If I'm
Well,
not mistaken, have a
like
classes.
driving a car, you drive a car.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard this thing from my spiritual guru Shri Ravi Shankar. So
Mm-hmm.
he always says, while driving the car you do so many multitaskings, right? It's the same way. So I like that uh, idea that you are driving this life of yours, and then you want to be on the track. So to be on the track, you have to make sure that you're looking right, left, up, down, everywhere.
Okay, so looks like you have been like through dance you know how to do multitasking in a very efficient way, and it's really working out for you. That's so nice to know. Well, the last question for the rapid fire round is: if you were not chosen dance as your career, what it could have been?
Filmmaking.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very funny because I love watching movies. I love watching movies, and uh, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I do think of writing a script and directing. But I don't know how I'm going to do that. I have no idea. But
I
that is
just a message to divine, something is gonna come back to you. But when you say about the films, I do see you're crafting shows on your own. You're taking mythologies, you're taking even the characters who have made a difference in history, and you're making shows on them. I have seen you have done you have performed for Shivaji
Bhosle, you have performed for Ramayana, you have performed for multiple scripts, and some of them have been, directed by you. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean, dance is a different perspective, Again, there
Mhm.
are two different genres here. Here it's like because it comes so easy, just naturally to me. But when you are going to sit with multiple people and dialogues come, because through dance we don't do dialogues, but
Mhm.
dialogues come. So I'm very fascinated how a movie is even done. That really fascinates me. Like, where does the money come from? Where does this director thought his things? How does the dialogue person feels like writing the right kind of a dialogue? Or getting, how does this director or the casting manager bring all these people together, cast them together? How is it that those, even these artists, the actors, the hero, the heroine, or the even the smallest character, is able to play that role? That is
Mhm.
so fascinating, because you're a patra. In Natya Shastra they say you're a patra means you're a vessel in which this um, this nectar has been poured and then
Wow.
given to people to drink. That's why it's called as rasa. Rasa means the juice. And to create this nectar is so phenomenal, and to bring everything together, that's fascinating.
That's so true. Well, with you going over all these forms has made me learn something different, and I'm sure I will look up to this art form in a very different perspective. So does the other people who are listening to this show and would be listening to the show. Uh, Before you go, we need one advice from you. You're a woman, you have a dance as your career, you have established it as a business, and especially when you have been uprooted from India, coming to the Silicon Valley, which is full of full of software companies, so many entrepreneurs are doing some other type of work, and there you are being standing firmly as an entrepreneur woman, and you're running this whole business show on your own. I've seen a one woman show in you in multiple times. You're experimenting with your dance, you're trying to connect all the dots, and give that spiritual experience to everyone who wants to take it, be it a student in your dance class, or be it somebody who is seeking a fitness, but you still want to give that kind of an experience. So uh, when I look at your personality, I myself get stumbled, and I feel like we should need advice from such women. So what is that one advice you would like to give to the women who wants to pursue their own passion, and that passion can be converted as a career?
See, the first thing is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, and make the people around you understand why you believe in it. It's very important. You have to, because uh, we we are not everybody understands what you're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important from our perspective to make them understand why you want to do a certain thing. you know and secondly, make a nice business plan. This is what I feel. I think my MBA has really helped me in that. uh,
Okay.
where I could sit down and make a business plan in terms of you know how I'm going to start the classes, what are the things that are required to do, for building my audience, how you're going to market yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is very important, that you sit down, make a nice plan, sit with your family, tell them, okay, give me maybe 4 years, give me 5 years of my time, to work on this. And if at all it fails, it shouldn't happen, but if it doesn't fail, find a plan B also. Keep a plan B,
Mm-hmm.
because for you, it is important to fall back, right? You need to feel, okay, at least I tried. At least I tried. You shouldn't die with, oh, regrets, I didn't do anything. So this is what I would definitely suggest everyone to do.
So while pursuing this path, there might be many moments that have come to you and have said it, just quit, but you haven't. What was that motivation that you had? Because if I knew right after your daughter was born, you started a full-time dance teacher as your career, and I'm sure it must have been a challenging, because if many people know, in America, dance teachers or any artists get only the weekends of their time. That's when the kids are mostly free, and you're running classes for entire 8 to 9 hours a day, right from the early morning till the evening. It must have been an exhausting journey. It must, as a mother, as a wife, as a family member, how do you cope up that?
um, it's, you just have to feel, understand that you're doing this to give. You're doing this because it's going to benefit somebody out there, if you know that. And also, again, plan your time, plan your day. If you're going to do, a certain thing on weekends, make sure that just one week day of the weekend will be fully packed. The other day you keep it fully for the family. And make sure that you, during the daytime, you are giving your 100% to the family. And then I think, it's okay. Once you start working, everything just falls into place.
Wow, that's the faith we were discussing about. She's a renowned dancer. She's a famous actor. We have seen a lot of aspects from her as a woman. We totally adore her. We would love to meet her again. But this is something that we have to end it here because we have a limited time show. We'll come back again with the same personalities, similar personalities, more and more to our shows. Keep tuned into Women's Special Express. Thank you.
I let go of my claim on you. It's a free